Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is a spare. I know this is a spare of the moment. I just came up with this topic within an hour. Um, Nothing had originally popped into my head, but this popped into my head. So we're going to be talking about policies and civics and political education, and we'll go from there. I'll give people more time to come in. I do know that Tropical Storm Henri is making landfall in New England, so there's some powder outages happening. I do understand why there might not be that many people in. So I'm just going to take a minute or two to let people get in, and then I'll get in, and hopefully others can chime in if they want to. Oh, yeah, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to register. Okay, we're approaching the 2 minute mark, so I'm going to get into today's topic, which is dealing with political education in civics. Oftentimes we talk about, you know, what a nation is, wanting to have our own nation, doing for ourselves, the self-determination aspect. But the bigger question and the question that needs to have more emphasis on is, do you know political education and civics? I think that these two concepts are very important. I feel like those people who are going to be at the forefront of nationhood and wanting to build that nation or make that connection needs to be well versed in political education and civics, and that means being good in political science, political terminology, public policies, and I'm going to be going over some of those concepts in today's live stream. And I want to give some key insight onto that because I do have a little bit of school education on that. And I just want to share, the information that I learned doing my own research, but also, my time when I actually took the course when I went to go study abroad and really just breaking down, how everything is like, how everything unfolds, what do you need to do, what don't you need to do. Um, those are all the things that I'm planning to do. So, you know, I will be going on that later. But yeah, if you don't have political education, you don't have civics, it's going to be really hard to run the country because you don't know how things work, how things function, what needs to be done, and you know the consequences of your actions. We see that even in today's world, in today's politics, with former President Donald Trump, the blatant incompetency, the blatant lack of civic education, the blatant disregard of political norms. These all have consequences, and they can be disastrous. They can be irreversible. They can cause harm that affects future generations. And that's stuff that you need to think about and stuff that we think about when we talk about, governing. Because it's one thing to want a nation. The question is, can you do it? And most importantly, can you operate it? It doesn't matter if you want to, want your own nation or have the ideas of nationhood. If your whole if you don't know how to run it, if you don't know how to operate it, you don't know how the law works, you don't know how the Constitution works, you don't know basic government principles, that's going to be really hard for you to do. So I think it's important that you are well versed in political education and civics. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have a bachelor's degree in political education or a bachelor's degree in economics, a bachelor's degree in law. Um, it doesn't mean none of that, or have those careers. It just means that you need to have an adept understanding about how things work. And that's the thing. You need to understand the basics of how things work. So, like I said, Jabari, what do you think about the Afghanistan situation? My premise on the Afghan situation was the Afghan war was unnecessary. It had been known for years that the Taliban was going to retake Afghanistan. It was just a matter of when. It was kind of a shock to people how fast it fell, but it was kind of well known that Afghanistan was going to, go into the hands of the Taliban. We had been there 20 years. We invested billions of dollars, and the billions of dollars went into warlords. They went to corrupt leaders, and it really didn't benefit the people of Afghanistan. That doesn't mean the people support the Taliban, because a lot of Afghans are anti-Taliban, but just the lack of fully understanding the situation in Afghanistan, and most importantly, not looking at the historical history of Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been considered the graveyard of empires. The British Empire was there and they failed. Alexander the Great tried to conquer Afghanistan, and that ended up backtracking. The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1980, which led to the boycott of the Moscow Olympics. But 9 years later, they pulled out of Afghanistan. And that was sort of what some people consider the undoing of the Soviet Union. So just not understanding that situation in Afghanistan, I think, is why Afghanistan was a colossal failure. Although I do believe that they should have pulled out, I'm not in favor of these forever wars. Mind you, a lot of the people who are in favor of staying in Afghanistan are war criminals. They are neocons. They should be in prison. They led to the deaths of millions of Afghans. They've led to the spilling over of terrorism in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, in Somalia, in Libya. So, what they say to me and those who favor staying in Afghanistan is really for partisan politics, and also to benefit from the fact that Afghanistan has over $1 trillion in mineral resources. So the whole situation with Afghanistan is a hot mess. I am with Biden in favoring the withdrawal from Afghanistan, but at the end of the day, everything was just ill-advised. Some of it was a lot of it, excuse me, was in bad intent. And, there were so many things that could have been better. It could have been avoided. But, it is what it is, and we have to deal with the situation. But that also, I'm glad the way you asked that question, because that goes into today's topic again, political education and civics. People who understand international politics, international diplomacy, understanding how everything works, because you can have a nation and the person not know what they're doing, and they end up getting into a conflict that is disastrous for the nation for decades to come. We saw that happen in World War II, where Britain got devastated so badly. due to, the Nazi regime, that they had to pay war debt for 40, 50 years. It wasn't until recently that Britain paid off the war debt from World War II. Haiti, it took over a century for them to pay off their debts. Of course, that was due to, France, but, that's what happens when you are dealing with these situations and you don't have full grasp of them. Some of them, obviously, they couldn't help themselves. They had no choice, and so I'm not gonna, negate them. But it's just you have to fully analyze, do like what they call in economics a marginal analysis, and really understand, the cost and benefits of what you're doing. Baruti says Jambo Habari Gani Jabari. Habare Mchema. Sijambu. I would say on the politics and political education that we need people to understand the different areas of policies. And I'm going to go over some of these policies so that, we are aware of what we need to do and what we need to study. So we have what's called, there are levels to policies. So the basic things you need to know about public policy or what policy entails is the following. And I've done a lot of research, note taking on this, so I'm going to be using that. So, what is policy? Public policy can generally be defined as a system of laws, regulatory measures, course of actions, and funding priorities concerning a given topic promulgated by a government entity or its representatives. Some of the characteristics of public policy. Policy is purposive or goal oriented. Policy is what government does, not what it says it will do or intends to do. So if you want to take note of that, make sure you make note of that. So government is purposive and goal oriented. Public policy is what government does, not what it says it will do or intends to do. Policy is based upon and is authoritative. Policy is the result of political processes. Policy consists of course of actions rather than mere decisions. And when I was taking my public policy 2A course when I was overseas studying abroad, you have the different agendas. So you have, the formulating the agenda, creating the agenda, passing the agenda. So those are some of the basics of public policy. So what are the types of policies? So some of the types of policies are agricultural, economic, energy, industrial, investment, social, trade, fiscal, monetary, and sort of a policy mix. So those are some areas that you need to understand when it comes to policies and the types of policies needed to be implemented. So remember, they are agricultural, economic, energy, industrial, investment, social, trade, fiscal, monetary, and then you have sort of a policy mix. So now if you were looking at it from the fiscal perspective, because fiscal deals with money, whether or not you have a budget surplus, a budget deficit, these are all into the fiscal outline. So budget, debt, deficit, surplus, financial ministry, fiscal union, revenue, spending, and of course taxes. And this also goes into the monetary unions that you might be a part of, whether or not you're part of the ECOWAS community and you use the ECO, or you're part of, the Union of the Mono River. That's going to shape your fiscal policies because or you're in the AFCFTA. All of this stuff is going to impact your fiscal policies because you might want to make sure that your fiscal policies are in line with your neighboring countries' fiscal policies as well. So, making sure that you don't have a huge deficit or you have a surplus, making sure you have a budget to fund certain project, to fund certain interregional and intra-regional organizations, also national organizations, making sure you properly plan out the budget so that resources are allocated efficiently into the right people. Minimizing corruption is another aspect of fiscal policy, and trying to eliminate illegal outflow of income. Those are all things that contribute to uh, fiscal policies, the outline of fiscal policy. Now I do have economic policies, which I will go over later. But those are the key outlines that you need to know about monetary policies. And fiscal policies, so that when we're in Liberia, we can set the agenda. We have a plan. It's specific. People know what we're about. People know what we're doing, and we don't have to, be vague or try to BS our way through it, or have to lie. We can be very calculated, and we can accomplish what we need to accomplish. Um, Now I'm going to get to the monetary policies. So, some things you need to know about monetary policies are bank reserves, discount window, gold reserves, interest rate, monetary authority, which is central bank, currency board, monetary base, monetary currency union, and money supply. So those are all aspects that deal with monetary policies. Like a central bank example, the US has a central bank, obviously, China has a central bank, Liberia has a central bank. Although their central bank needs massive upgrading and massive investments because there should not be a bank note shortage. Speaking of which, let me address that an example of bad policy. Um, to address that point. This is what happens when you don't properly fiscally plan for a situation. Let me get to it real quick. Nope. Hold on. Man, there we go. Um, Give me a moment. I don't know why I did that. Um, okay, I should be good, y'all. Let me see. Okay, right here. So you see right here, it says Liberia's banknote shortage undermined George Weah's pro poor presidency. And so you see right there, you have a banknote shortage. That's a consequence of bad public policy, and specifically bad monetary policy. So you see right there that in the article it talks about how some of the money is old. In the vaults they have mold. There's not enough money. People can't withdraw cash. Um, you know, One of them said, "I'm very disappointed in the government and the bank because we're not getting what we're supposed to." That's all an example of, bad monetary policy. Do you have enough money supply for to go through the economy? Um, is the government printing out the appropriate amount of money so that the value of the currency doesn't, go down and it becomes worthless, or you're suffering from inflation? These are all stuff that you have to consider when we talk about, monetary policy. Um, but it just wasn't that one. You had a situation again where the banknote shortage, you know, led to um, economic collapse. Um, Commercial banks couldn't do loans because they ran out of the local currency. Um, and the fact of the matter is, because the fact that it relies so much on cash, that you don't have like an e-commerce or a cashless society, which should be the basis. The economy shouldn't be relying on cash. It should be relying on, stuff like debit cards, credit cards, if you're into that stuff, cryptocurrency, it should be relied on non-cash ways of transfers. But that all goes back to monetary policy. Another example was when 16 billion Liberian dollars, that's about like 100 something million dollars, between 100 and 200 million dollars of money that just disappeared from Liberia, that was given by the IMF or international, aid. And that's an example of, again, bad monetary and fiscal policies. So let's get back to trade policies, because that's going to be something that's important. Trade policies. So trade policies deal with balance of trade, free trade, gains from trade, non-tariff barrier, protectionism, tariffs, trade block, trade creation, trade diversion, and trade slash commerce ministry. So, you know, understanding trade policy so that you benefit from the trade, you're not being taken advantage, you're not suffering a trade deficit, you're not allowing companies to outsource jobs, and that leaves you deindustrialized, or at least some countries to benefit. um those are the consequences. um um Richard, that was back in 2019. I'm not saying it is now, but that happened during December, back in December. Now, they did say they printed new banknotes after long-standing shortage, but the reality of it is there shouldn't be a money supply shortage. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that they're not building or they're not getting better, but just, that's a concern. There should never be a shortage of cash, a shortage of banknotes, and there really should be an e-commerce and cashless economy as well. Um, that's what I was saying on that. Um, But what's up, Bruce Leroy? To continue on, you want to make sure that with the trade that not you're allowing companies in countries to trade goods. Make sure that you have the right inflation rate that matches what the region's organizations want. Making sure that you have a certain level of income and development so that you're keeping up with your neighbors, making sure that your people have access to these markets, making sure that they have a competitive advantage in whatever industries or sectors that they're doing, avoiding protectionism. I don't have a problem with being a little protectionist, but being protectionist, like in the case of Nigeria, where you're closing borders down with your neighboring countries, it's not good trade policy. It's not good, PR. That's just bad. So making sure that you're putting in the right trade policies and really being the forefront of those trade policies could be huge. They could benefit you, they could benefit the people as a whole, and benefit the region. So that's one of the things to consider when you talk about trade policies. Free trade, balance of trade, gains from trade, non-tariff barriers, protectionism, tariff trade blocks like the AFCFTA, ECOWAS, Union of the Mono River, You have the East African Community, the Southern African Development Committee. There's one for Central Africa. There's one for the Maghreb. Trade creation, trade diversion, trade commerce, and commerce ministry. Making sure you have all of that. Um, Now let's get to what some people would say would really matter, which would be economic policies, because obviously you can have great social policies, you can have all that, but it's really the economic policies that get you um the bread and butter. This mm, this Richard was what I was talking about. If you didn't see it, hold on. This. Oh my. Yeah, this. It says the plus minus 16 billion, the missing millions of Liberia. You have so they said that no $16 billion went missing, and then they said that um no information to support allegation containers of money missing. Okay, thank you for the correction on that. So there was no $16 billion that went missing or 104 million missing. Thank you for the correction, Richard Regbo. Really appreciate it. Um, you know, I don't know everything, and if I don't know, if I make the mistake, thank you for correcting me. That's one of the best ways you can is to please correct us, and we take value in being standing corrected and not being arrogant like some folks do, and they just double down or they get emotional. But let's continue on with economic policies, because that's really the bread and butter of the situation. You can have other great social policies all you want to, but if your economic policies is bad and your economies are tumbling, everything else is just not going to make it. So let's get back to, the economic policies. Economic, excuse me, sorry, economic policies being, monetary policy, fiscal policy, supply side policies, microeconomic policies, labor market policies, tariff and trade policies. And with the microeconomic policies, you have taxes, subsidies, price controls, housing markets, regulation of monopolies. So those are just a few examples of you know, economic policies. And that's going to be something that you're going to need with nation building. You're going to need, to have those policies, making sure that, people have access to a home, making sure that people, have a job, making sure you give companies incentives to come there, giving them, recruitment incentives, taxes, maybe tax incentives, subsidies, grants, loans for research and development. All of that plays a factor. And I think that has to be considered as well. Making sure that, you don't cause less production to happen in the economy, or you're not spending the right amount on a particular industry, and as a result you're not getting too far. You want to make sure that your economic policies are conducive for development and growth, but also conducive to prevent income and wealth inequality or wealth calcification. um what else? Oh yeah, labor market, making sure you got access to labor laws, make sure you got access to, you know, Make sure you're protecting workers, giving them good safety conditions, a decent wage, making sure you're giving them pensions and benefits to increase productivity. Make sure you're not, you know, overworking them, causing them to have mental distress. Though those are all economic policies. Um, And make sure y'all question. Make sure you give y'all comments. I just don't want to keep just talk to y'all like that. Just blurring on. Ask me questions. You can ask any questions as it pertains to nation or their policies. Um, you know, I've pretty much made my case on the importance of understanding. Policies, getting to the specifics. Um, The consequences of not doing these kinds of policies is you has a leader like Donald Trump, um, leaders like Idi Amin or Mobutu Seko, um, who run the country into the ground, because they don't know what they're doing. They should never have been in office, and they suffer dearly for it. They suffer dearly from it. You know, Mobutu Sese Seko decimated the economy in Nigeria in the 1980s. Like Nigeria's economy was doing well in 1980, 1981. Then you had the recession in 1983, and the recession in 1983 caused a massive reduction in Nigeria's economy. Its GDP shrank from, you know, um hold on. So like I said, Jabari, what do you think about Afghan refugees making their way to the US? Well, I mean, it's the US's responsibility. I mean, the US created Afghanistan, and it's not just in the United States. Afghan refugees are fleeing all over the world. Uganda is taking in a couple thousand. Iran has taken in a bunch. Iran has like 800,000 documented, 2.1 million undocumented Afghans in Iran. You have Afghans fleeing into Pakistan. So, it's not just the United States. I understand why they're fleeing to the United States because the United States was responsible and it's their job to get out those who help them and bring them to the US. So, I don't have I'm not really making a big deal out of it because the reality of it is once again, you don't control the policies. And that's the thing that irks me about the situation, and it shows just a lack of political and civic education is we don't run the society and the government. So if the government says we're taking in the refugees, you can get mad as much as you want, but you can't make them change. You don't run the society. And I have no problem, taking in Afghans. I just don't, you know because you're heading to a slippery slope and a can of worms, right? If Haitians were getting in trouble and they were being brutalized, or Dominicans were, or things like that, they would want to come here, and we should allow them, and we would want them to be here. Same thing, that Black Americans talk about. Oh, the U.S. government's after us. Well, if the US government was really after us the way that y'all claim, y'all would be seeking asylum everywhere. You wouldn't be talking about how the government's coming after you, but yet you're still trying to stay into the country. That's literally a contradiction. That's a straw man's argument. Prove to us that the US government is after you. I don't feel safe in this country. Well, if you don't feel safe in this country, why don't you seek asylum and go somewhere else? Like, come on. If you have fear that you're going to die, you don't stay in the area that you fear you're going to die. You're going to try as hard as you can to get out of the situation. So people can freak out about Afghan refugees making their way there. I'm not freaking out. It's not doesn't make me bad. Like, you know, exactly, Fly Guy. That really is what it comes down to. I get tired of seeing black people complain about something out of their control. We can't control who comes into the country. Exactly. Y'all ain't the border patrol. Y'all not the immigration systems. You don't run that. You don't run the Bureau of Immigration. You don't control the vetting process. You don't control none of that. Okay. You're not the majority. You're the third largest ethnic group in America, right? If you consider Latinos to be a separate group, obviously Latino is and Hispanic are not race, and Latino and Hispanic are two different phrases. Latinos can include Brazilians, but not people from Spain, and Hispanics include people from Spain and not people from Brazil. But he said, right, that's not our problem. Just focus on nation building, and that's that. Vanessa, that's really what it comes down to. Like I get so sick and tired of the whole, well, see, they're coming here and we allowed you to come and listen. You didn't sign a visa, you didn't stamp their visa, stamp their visas. You didn't stamp their passports. You didn't do none of that. Stop acting like you running the country. Once again, you have people who act like they running the country. I'm like, you ain't running nothing. So why are you complaining? Black Addy says black people think if nobody comes in, then white people are gonna give them. Yeah, we tried that. It was the early 1800s, and we still got nothing. Like, y'all act like they're just gonna give you because, well, we built the country, built it against your will. Number one. Number two, you were slaves, you were somebody's property. And number three, you don't have power and mechanisms to force them to do so. What's your leverage? Please tell me what leverage you have, and I'll gladly, think. If you don't, we'll say we'll leverage our vote. Black people are 15 or 12 to 13% of the population. Hispanics are 18% of the population. Whites are about 57%. So Hispanics and whites make up 75% of the population. Asians make up 6% of the population. So, and we haven't even talked about mixed race people or black multiracial people. So once again, what political capital do we have, right? Because some people will say in states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, yeah, there's a black population there, but you forgot that there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania as well, and there's a lot of Arabs in Michigan. Y'all just conveniently forget that, and you forgot about the white voters there as well who voted for Joe Biden as well. But we just gonna negate that part. We're not gonna get into the specifics of demographics. We're just gonna say this to make it feel like we got power when we don't got any power. It's really amazing the excuses they give. It's really amazing the excuses they give. Like I said, we don't run anything. Like, y'all just heard my whole diatribe earlier about the policies. I need everybody in the chat, out of all the policies I just said, economic, monetary, fiscal policies, trade policies, gains from trade, free trade barriers, trade blocks, do we control any of that in America? Yes or no? Please answer me, everybody. Do we control any of that in America right now? Do we as black folks as a group, do we dictate any of those policies? I just need to know. I just need to know, because I think in some mind they think we really run in these policies. Like, we really run in things. Exactly. We not running anything. So at this point, why are you complaining? Like why you don't run anything? Like, and like I said again, if you feel this country is not safe and you feel this country doesn't care about black folks, why are you not seeking asylum somewhere else? If I know that my significant other doesn't care about me, I'm going to walk away because you don't care about me. And it doesn't make sense for me to stay in a relationship with somebody who blatantly is telling me they don't care about me. They don't have my interests. They don't want to work with me. We get you. So let me go somewhere else. It's really that simple. It's not hard. It's not, some complex equations like what I learned in differentials or calculus 3 or fluid mechanics. Is none of that. It's simply you don't run anything, right? And there are some black folks who get mad when other black folks mention in America, if you're gonna try to get something, you have to have a multiracial coalition. Black folks are 12% of the population. There's no way we're going to get any legislation passed, anything done without a multiracial coalition. And if you don't want that multiracial coalition, unless you got a nation backing you up, you just out of luck. Like that's just what it is. Once again, lack of policies. Right. And who wants to stay in a country where you don't run you don't run anything? Like, I could understand holding the bag. He said, even with that multiracial coalition, black people still gonna be left holding the bag. Oh my God, are we gonna be holding the bag, gonna be the last in line, but hey, comes with the territory. Like I said, you gotta. Everybody doesn't want to deal with the burden or the responsibilities, is what I'll say on that regard. Everybody gets mad about, this is that and the third, but that comes with the terrain you're living in. If you don't want to live in a multiracial, you don't want this black brown coalition or multiracial coalition, then why are you not in a black majority country? Well, see, Africans don't see us as Africans, right? They'll say Africans don't see African Americans as Africans. Chinese people don't see Chinese Americans as being Chinese. Does that mean they're not Chinese? No. It simply means you were not born and raised in China. You were not socialized like Chinese people in China. That doesn't mean you're not Chinese. They made a great article. They said, two Chinese for American, two American for China. This means that she's very Americanized. It doesn't mean that she's not Chinese. She blends in perfectly in the country. She's racially like all the other Chinese people, the other ethnic, which people don't know is ethnically Han. But it's the same thing in Africa. You're going to racially look like them. Your accent may be different. You might be heavily Americanized. That's what people are making the claim. You're not literally not African, right? And I don't understand where that whole thing came from. I don't understand where that came from. I don't understand where that came from. But that when we get this nation up, them policies gonna have to make sure that we ensure that we teach civic education and politics, because we see, like I said, America is a quintessential example of when you fail political education and civics. We indigenous to America. We are foundational Black Americans. We are copper-colored Negroes, which that's a contradiction. How can you be copper-colored and Black at the same time? I guess y'all just don't understand words. But I digress. What else? We are the descendants of Yahweh. What else? I'm gonna be clowning. I'm going to be clowning these people. You got people. Back in the day, there were some Black people who said we were Asiatic. There's the Asiatic Black man. We are Asiatics. I've heard that theory before. Another example would be we are the Olmecs. We are the sons of the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Cushites and all this other stuff. We are the real Arabs. I'm just like, Hold on, we the chosen. Yeah, we the chosen one. Oh my god, like. Oh, no. I gotta show y'all this video. Oh, I gotta show y'all this. This is about to have y'all dead. Oh my god. Um, um, I want y'all to look at this. I want y'all to look at this. Y'all about to laugh. I know y'all is about to laugh, but hold on. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. I want everybody to see this. See, I know y'all know we know who he is. We know he's a grifter, but look at this phrase. Look at the phrase. It says black and white slaves worked together in search of the promised land away from Africa. Black and white slaves worked together in search of the promised land away from Africa. Look at this. The first Africans were white people that migrated to America in the early 1600s. Oh my god. Oh my god. He says white slaves with black masters. Y'all, I kid you not. He said the first Africans were white people that migrated to America in the early 1600s. Y'all, what? Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's continue on. American slavery. American slavery included white people as slaves with black owners. Y'all, this is, I can't, bro. I can't. It says right here. It says American slavery included white people with black owners. Let's keep searching, y'all. This is just, and then we got this, the legendary black redneck. Oh my god, y'all. I need a drink. Like underrated mindset. I need a drink. But there are people, but Fly Guy, there are people that actually believe this stuff. Like we were talking about earlier, there was a video I was on with Dynas. It was back in 2018. It was 3 years ago, and it was me, and it was the African superstar. And one of them said, one of the dude who was a Hebrew Israelite said, the Nile is in Mississippi. North America is the new Jerusalem or the new Israel. And I was like, so what's the Nile? What's that river in Egypt then? If the Mississippi is the Nile River, then what is that river that flows through Egypt and Sudan? What is that? Is that the what was that? Is that the Tennessee River? Is that the Missouri River? Is that the Ohio River? What? It, Vanessa, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what's wrong with him, but something is wrong with him. Like, it's just that. And remember what they said? What was it? The Dan Galloway one, where he said the following. I know y'all saw this one. I think y'all saw this one, but let me just show this one. This was just out of line. That they had to respond. He said, Dan Calloway said Harriet Tubman was a fictional character. And they got 153 views. Let me show y'all again. Let me just show y'all again so y'all can see this. Yeah, y'all can see the chicanery that these fools is doing. Hold on. Let me do Chrome tab real quick. Let me do Chrome tab. right here. Y'all see this? It says Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner are fictional characters created by acts of Congress. That's what they said. He said Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner are fictional characters created by acts of Congress. I don't even know what else to say. But see, this is what I mean by political education and civics. People don't do political education, civics, history, don't do public policies, none of that. And this is what you got as a result. Here is your end result. People who make up conspiracy theories, people who make up lies, saying Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner are fictional characters created by acts of Congress. So these Durga type pictures, what are they then? Right? Because these are fictional characters, then how would they take the photos? I'm just curious. The fly guy said they like hearing themselves talk. Yep. They like hearing themselves talk. They like getting attention. I mean, this is embarrassing. And this is embarrassing because these are black. Everybody knows you black. Like, why are you acting like you ain't black? Like, do you not see? Like, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. It's super embarrassing. Now, of course, we don't claim them, so I'm just not thing. But just the fact that got 153,000 views, and the fact that got so many likes. Hold on, let me see how many likes did that get. Let me see. That y'all got 9,000 likes. That got 9,000 likes on that video. Only 58 dislikes. Vanessa Johnson said identity crisis for real. Sometimes it feels like these morons got dropped off by another dimension. It do be feeling like that. What was it? That they were trying to prove that vaccines were caused by magnetic shields and just and the thing about it is you got people co-signing this. That's the thing that irks me. You got people co-signing. That's the thing. Is they are co-signing this. So we're indigenous. So then what are the Cherokees? What are the Catawbas? What are the Yemasees? Who are these people then? If they're not, if we're so-called American Indian. Oh my God. Sometimes you just y'all, this is just I can't. Oh, okay. We gonna see some more. It was do y'all this man is so disrespectful. He didn't even have the audacity to say Black Wall Street. This man referred to Black Wall Street as Negro Wall Street. This man referred to Black Wall Street as Negro Wall Street. I kid you not. This man really referred to it as Negro Wall Street. Oh my God. Let me see. Let me see the other. I know he's a troll, but just Mhm. Oh, here's another famous talking point. They said, where are the slave ships? He said, where are the slave ships they used during the slave era? That was 2 months ago. Y'all, this is just oh my God. It's just oh my God. This man then tweets, says is the first African slaves did not arrive in Jamestown, Virginia. History books are lying. I'm telling y'all, bro, like, I can't. Ah. The- he didn't tweet it. He didn't said the ghettos are the reservations. Y'all, this man said the ghettos are the reservations. Just this man literally said the ghettos are the reservations. I'm literally looking at it right now. This man said the ghettos are the reservations. I need a drink. I'm like, oh my God. I know I went off a little bit on a tangent, but just that just needed to be to be said because this was we got a lot of political education and civics that needs to happen. A lot of political education in civics needs to happen. And once again, you know, this is what happens when you don't have a good political education in civics. You get clowns like that. So I know, like I said earlier, I was talking about the different policies, what would be needed to run a nation, but now also make sure that people know who they are and they're not delusional. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that as we approach the hour mark. Any last comments, any last questions, you're free to ask. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment as well. Sign up to the website at blafghanistan.org / register. We have the lounge going for BL members. Stay there, please. We would really appreciate all you guys to be there. You can always watch this when it gets archived. But yeah, understanding policies, political education, and civics is important in running a nation, and also making sure you know your national identity and know who you are. So, you are very welcome. I'm going to have to get me one too. I gotta make sure my thing is right, but I'm glad you got your t-shirt and hoodie. We should have a thing where we just post our BIO Afghanistan shirts and hoodies, and we do that. But yeah, I'm gonna continue doing the Liberian presidential series. Underrated Mind knows more about the lounge. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about tonight. I guess it's the go along to get along. I guess that's what it is tonight. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be turned. I'm gonna stay as long as I can. I'm not gonna do like try to go in and out. But we'll see. But it was great talking to you guys. And yeah, so underrated mindset, become a member to join the lounge. Check out the go along with the get along video. He just posted that. It's really fun. It's really exciting. We do a lot of chicanery as well as nation building, talking about strategy. We're human, and we like to do human things. So of course, that matters to us. Oh, he's underrated mindset. That was just a clip, not the topic. I don't know what the topic is. I guess today's, topic is gonna be, the multiracial rainbow, making sure you got the black, brown, white, and yellow. I don't know what we're gonna be having. We can have a conversation about shrimp fried rice or shrimp and grits. I guess so. But we'll see how it goes. But thank you guys for tuning in. And once again, it's important to have political and education and civics. Make sure you know the economic policies, industrial investment, energy, monetary, fiscal. Making sure you got your microeconomic policies. Like I said, I'm gonna hook you up. Make sure you get that knowledge. Making sure I'm dropping dimes so that you can shine the limelight. Making sure you know this off the back of your forehead. I want to make sure you got that. So, obviously I might start doing, I'm gonna start doing also um the lives. I'm gonna still do the lives, but the lives are gonna start to become more um free reigning, and starting now I want more of you guys to be in. Vanessa, if you want to join, if you're part of the group, we can, I want more people to come involved. I'm going to start making individual videos and just addressing issues. So instead of just doing like thing and just like a specific topic, I'm just going to do a specific video, and I'm just going to address it at that, so you guys can just watch it anytime, any day, and you don't have to necessarily wait on Sunday. And Sunday can just be a free reigning topic where we just enjoy ourselves. We just have discussions. Hopefully next Sunday we have Holla, Umoja, underrated mind on, and we just really just, pop it and we just have discussions. But once again, like Vanessa said, thanks and peace and love to family, and I will see y'all later throughout the week.